welcome you all to the podcast on the Fellowship of the Healing Heart. I am Father Charlie, joined by Georgia, Kelly, and Danny B. And today we will be talking about transitions. So transitions are something that we're all aware of. And when we're doing this recording, it's May when a lot of transitions happen with like graduations, or a lot of times people get new jobs, or those that are finishing up again, different school assignments or internships, all that kind of stuff. So there can be a time of transition during this time. But what I found is that so often we can experience different effects during the transitions that can actually affect our physical, emotional, or spiritual health. And I want to talk a little bit about that today and share some of our experience and some tips that can help us to maintain our physical, emotional, and spiritual health even when we're in the midst of those particular transitions. So something that wanted to share kind of from my own life, those on know that I'm about a year into a pretty significant transition of when I took on a new different type of ministry as a priest. And it's something that especially I was a little surprised myself because of the psychological impact that it had for me. There were different ways where, again, sometimes we don't always think with transitions of how there's a place of mourning that happens. So in my case, had a lot of, quite frankly, mourning of the different ministry, the parish where I was at before my current assignment. And it was something that was tough. And something I just wanted to speak to is don't ever feel bad if we're going through any kind of transition and you think to yourself, what's wrong with me? I don't seem like myself, or I seem more down, or other things like that. I found that, I know for myself, I had to remind myself of that sometimes, because I'd be like, what is wrong with me? In different moments, and I had to remind myself, I'm in the midst of a transition. I'm in that place of grieving that transition, and part of what I had to kind of do was be merciful to myself in that place of transition. And so just want to invite anyone who might be listening that's going through any of those transitions, might be a little bit off. Not kind of the same way that they're used to just have that place first off to be merciful to yourselves in that place, and to just love yourself in that place and just realize, it is hard. And again, the bigger transitions that we go through, the harder oftentimes that it can be as well. And I was even surprised as well because I generally am a pretty physically healthy individual. Even when, let us say, perhaps gaining a little bit more around the midriff than is good, but still was in pretty good health as far as not getting kind of physical illnesses. But in the midst of that transition, like I came down with all kinds of stuff that I normally wouldn't do. I got a lot more sick physically, because we think so often with the physical illness of how our immune system is down, but we often don't think of in times of transition, it actually has an effect on our immune system. Science has shown that it can actually affect our physical health. And so if you notice, wow, I'm getting sick more physically than normal because of that transition, that's kind of what's going on. It does actually have a pretty substantial impact on one's immune system, on the ways that we can fight infections. And also, especially in my case with this transition, I found that even my spiritual health, and again, this is coming from a priest, that it was harder to pray. That there are ways that I didn't feel some of the same connection or the ways of hearing God as, quite frankly, clearly as I normally do, was also happening during that time. And so also sometimes people will tell me like, Father, what's going on? Like, I'm having a harder time praying. Don't seem to be getting messages from God. What's going on? And when I know they're in the transition, I try to encourage them by saying, you're in a transition. That affects your spiritual health in many ways as well. So just, again, for any of those who are going through those transitions or have had that, just, again, to be merciful to oneself for any of those ways that you could experience any of that physically, emotionally, or spiritually. I just want to invite anyone to chime in if there's anything from your personal experiences with transition that you would kind of like to share.
Well, I'm a little dumbfounded. I thought we were talking about transmissions, so I'm going to need a moment to recalibrate.
Da-da-ching.
It wasn't any funnier the third time.
You know what? It killed in the pre-show, people. How about one of the ladies go first? Let's be gentlemen, Father. Let's be gentlemen. One of the ladies.
Wow. Okay, I'll go. that was an interesting transition.
Oh, he stole my joke. That on the other one. Nice.
It's kind of out there. So I was in religious life for a number of years, and I was a fortunate one that I got transferred a lot, and each transfer, it meant like I would get a call and move from one city to another or whatever. And
I'm sorry, is that like being recruited by a different company almost?
no.
Okay.
No, it was like the superior was in charge of all of us for the whole country.
Okay.
And if there was a need, like in Los Angeles or in Virginia or in Florida, you would be sent wherever there was a need. So it was like
reorganization kind of.
Yeah, it happened every
Okay.
year, but yeah, because there would just
Every
be
year?
movements. Yeah,
Okay.
I didn't get moved every year, but like transfers, we would call them transfers, would happen
Yeah.
every year. But
Okay.
I did move every year or two. So for about 20 years, every 1 or 2 years, I was moving across the country,
Wow.
mostly. And then for a little bit, I lived in Italy, and for a little bit, I lived in Canada and things like that. But it was this weird kind of liminal space. Father's messing with his lighting or
Father's
something.
playing with his
is
life.
happening?
Father, you already talked. Let someone else have the limelight, okay? Lordy.
And if you end up listening to this podcast and not watching it, Father was playing with the light that shines on his face. So there we have it. Yeah, illumination from the Lord. There we go. But it was this weird juxtaposition or liminal space of being like happy to go where I'm sent, but also missing where I was. Mm-hmm. And it's hard to hold both of those because you think, well, I should miss all the people that I got to know in my last assignment. And you do, but then you're sent. I mean, for me, it was like Jesus sent me to where I was going next. And I mean, I consider he still does that now. Where I am now was not on my radar. So I really do feel that Jesus sent me here. And when I came here, I didn't know anybody except for kind of one person. And, yeah, so it's hard to like, it's this place of grief of like missing where you were. And then also excitement of, oh, there's new opportunities and there's a new assignment and there's new things that the Lord has for me. And it's hard to hold those together. I always kept thinking it would get easier, and it hasn't yet. I don't know if it ever will, but it never got easier. I was always happy to do it. I think that's part of the reason I got transferred so much as a sister. I would be told, oh, you're so flexible. I'm like, oh, I don't need to be flexible. Like the superiors would compliment me on my adaptability and whatever.
Yeah.
They're like, wow, you just hit the ground running when you get to a new place. It's like, well, I don't know what else to do. I can't sit in my room and you have to just do your assignment. You have to keep doing what you're doing. So there's grace in that. But yeah, it's hard to hold both things, but both things are very real. You can be excited about your new thing and also grieving the past too. And I don't think there's a time limit for either one of those realities. So, and to be patient with yourself, like Father said.
My mother is going through something very similar to you in that she is leaving a place in a relationship that she was in immediately after my father's death, almost immediately. And now she's come to live with us here in Austin, or not with us, but in town. And there are days where I'm like, what is wrong with you? Because she is just special. So spicy special as only a 69-year-old woman can be. And today she was able to articulate like just how hard, like she's like, it's so good. This newness and what's happening is so good that I just keep focusing on it could have been this good this whole time if I had just made changes earlier, faster, all of that. So we had a conversation very similar to what you're talking about. Like both things can be true. And then also that old cliche, the rear view mirror is small for a reason and the windshield's very large. Right. So we had that talk. It's interesting that you guys brought that up. And like, it really is, as someone who is walking alongside and supporting someone through transition, it's hard to know what to say because it is such a personal and difficult experience loaded with newness and morning. It's interesting that you both brought that up. And Kelly, I know you're going through a lot of additional transitions on top of just physicality, like geography. So that's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that transitions can be very positive too. So the fact that I came out to Texas from California, me and my wife have been wanting to move for some time, and we were trying to figure out where we wanted to go. And even though I travel a lot of places in the country, they weren't so conducive maybe to where we would work. And it's really neat, at least in my life, how when I was really doing things wrong, God still looked out for me. And so the reason we came out to Texas really is because we literally heard God talking to us through some other people. So I had a buddy of mine who would always talk about retiring. And one day he's like, hey, I think I want to retire in Austin. And I'm like, Texas? He's like, yeah. I go, why? He goes, well, they have no tax out there, no state income tax, and la-di-da-di-da. And he talked about it. It's no big deal. And then the very next day, my wife goes, hey, you know how we've been thinking about moving out of California? I go, yeah. She goes, what do you think about Austin? And I'm like, Texas? And she's like, yeah. So now I think, okay, they know each other. This is some elaborate joke. So, but I hold my cards close to my chest. I'm like, okay. So why Austin? She goes, well, I have some friends who moved out there, and I can transition my job over there really easy, and you probably could too. And I was like, really? So you didn't talk to John about this? And she's like, no. Why? And so I told her what happened. I said, I really think God's telling us something. It wasn't coincidence, right? And so we came out, we scouted the area, and we made a plan. And within a year, Donna was pregnant with our first child. We had 2 cars, 2 little dogs, and even the place we had thought we locked down fell through. And we just went anyway. And when she was getting scared or nervous about it, because I didn't even have a job locked down at the time, I was like, we're going to be fine. God's got us in the palm of his hand. We're going to be just fine. And so, I really gave it up to faith. She was a little more nervous than I was. I really wasn't. And I looked at it like an adventure, right? But even in just to show both sides of the coin, you can go through really hard things in life. And for me, one of the toughest things I went through was cancer. And so when you're in physical fitness and you hear you have cancer, all you hear is you're going to die. That's the first thing you hear. And you're really stunned. I was stunned for about, not very long, maybe about an hour, but I thought all kinds of crazy things. Like, I won't tell my wife I'll do all this on my own somehow, and you think a lot of crazy things, and you get a little upset, but, praise the Lord, I had strong enough faith that, I had a hard talk with God. He's one of my favorite sayings is you can talk, you always want to be respectful to the Lord, but you can talk to him when you're upset and let him have a little bit. He's tough. He can take it. And so I did. I had a really hard talk with him, and pretty quickly I realized, I said, look, I don't know why you're doing this. I'm not happy about it. I got one child. I got another child on the way. I'd like to be around for my kids, but I'm just going to lay this at your feet and, let your will be done. And very quickly I was at peace with it. And I know we're going to talk about this more later, but this is just a personal experience I had. And really one of the hardest things for me was comforting the people around me as I gave them the news, because people who care about you are devastated. They're very upset for you. And after a while, except for my family and stuff, I had to stop telling people. Like, my clients were crying in public, and it's wonderful. It's very nice. But after a while, I'm doing all the comforting, and I'm the sick one. So, but having a strong faith and trust in the Lord is what got me through in both cases. In both cases, whether it was something that looked exciting and like an adventure, or something that was potentially life-ending. And having a strong faith in the Lord is really what got me through. So if you always remember God's on the throne, he's in charge, he's in control, and you can just surrender to that. At least for me, it's helped out a ton. So transitions can be fun, they can be terrible, but if you keep in mind, keep your eyes up and keep your heart turned and open to God, it's helped me tremendously.
Good points, Danny. And I think it is a good point that transitions aren't always bad things. And they don't always have a negative impact. They can have positive impacts. They can be ways, certainly, I think all of us when graduating probably were excited when we graduated from high school, going on the next stage of our lives, different things like that. It's like, you have those moments where there can be a good, a joyful expectation with transitions, especially. I think a lot of times where it's harder, right, is when sometimes the transitions, aren't chosen for you, especially in the case of like Danny mentioning, with health. Obviously, Danny didn't choose to get cancer, nor does anyone, have that happen, right? Or those who have serious mental health conditions also don't choose these things, right? You don't choose when you go through a period of spiritual desolation, of spiritual dryness, where it's hard, right? So I think especially that's where it can be extra hard, right? Is when we don't have that choice. But what Danny was mentioning, we do have a choice. Is how we choose to give it to God and how we choose to go forward. Because that's the thing with transitions, right? Part of what is hard is as long as we stay in that place, we can feel stuck. But when we make that choice to kind of go forward with God's help, that's when things shift for us.
Yeah. And it's very freeing, too. I another quick little story. When me and Donna were getting our marriage convalidated, we wanted to have the big reception we never had and a bunch of stuff. And my wife's like, how are we going to afford it? I just kept saying, I already gave it to God. He's going to figure it out. And she was like,
God bless Donna.
as the time.
Can we just give it up for Donna for a second?
Yeah, well,
If your
yeah.
husband or spouse was like,
No, I
probably go a little bit, unless you're at exactly the same spiritual level, you are going to be like, what?
Well, so she was
to me?
She was a little more freaked out about it, but I just really believed.
But this
that,
is the second time you've said this, almost verbatim each situation.
Right. Well,
No,
so
all three situations.
yeah, I mean,
third time.
Yeah, so I mean, you can take it. You can take it as you will. About me and where my faith is at, but I just knew he was going to come through. We found somebody here and there, and made a call here or there or whatever, and it wasn't ridiculous, but it was nice. We had a lot of guests, and everything went well, and everything was paid for. And I'll tell you, the big difference for me is not having the worry, right? Because the worrying doesn't do anything anyway. All that does is make you upset, makes you anxious, it destroys your health, it destroys your physicality, it can destroy your spiritual life, it can play havoc with your mind. And once I learned how to turn things over like that to God, I just refuse to. I get upset, I get thrown off. Like when I heard about cancer, when you get bad news. I'm not immune. I'm not just floating around going, yeah, everything's great. I get upset. But very quickly I turned my attention to the Lord, and I just try to give it up to Him, and I am here. I'm going to testify. All joking aside, it works. You want a peaceful life, choose peace. Give it up to the Lord, and just say, I've talked to the Father about this. I sometimes wonder if I'm being lazy or I'm really good at it. I'm like, I got this problem, Lord. I'm just going to lay it at your feet. You take care of it. I'm just going to lay this at your feet. You take care of it. I'm just going to lay this at your feet. You take care of it. And it's become so reflexive that I've had to question. I go, am I being lazy? I mean, it's not like I don't wake up and shower and get dressed in the morning, but like I just give it up to the Lord a lot, and my life's a lot less stressful.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful. First, I think it's amazing and wonderful and aspirational. And it's a really beautiful testimony. I also, in those moments, consider someone like my best friend who has been through an incredibly difficult 2 years. Her mother died of cancer. Her father then a year later died just unexpectedly. The next year, her brother-in-law died unexpectedly, just loss after loss. And this is in addition to just her day-to-day family life and business life and everything else. And what I have seen from her, again, we talk about this a lot on this podcast. Like, it looks very different. It's way more feminine of a way of working through this than perhaps Danny does. In that, I have gone over and let her just cry, and she really feels through that. It takes time. There's no like, Danny, you are very blessed. You move through these emotions, if any, very quickly. But some people, it just takes more time. It hits, grief hits at different times unexpectedly, and there's nothing wrong with that. People aren't doing it wrong. They're not giving it to God wrong. If it takes you more time, you have more anger, more questioning, more tears. And I am really proud of her because of the journey she's taken. I've seen her grow as a woman. I've seen her change the way her relationship with Christ is, the way that she catechizes her children, and the way that she... Did I say it wrong?
Do you think it's deepened her faith?
I think
I'm
it's
just
changed it.
Okay.
I think as midlife does to most women, it's changed it. I think she is the most non-judgmental, beautiful, loving friend that you could ever want in your life. Like, she is an answered prayer of a person.
But I think what you're describing, Georgia, is a deepening. Okay, and I think what we need to realize.
I just don't want to put those words into her mouth.
Yeah.
I think it is a deepening, but I'm just...
Yeah, but I think what's helpful is to say faith is manifested in different ways. So that's the point you're making, right? Georgia's making this point with her friend, right? That faith, when Danny was also making some beautiful points, right? But both, I would say, are testimonies of faith, but in different expressions. Some of it's the male-female, masculine-feminine expression, but I think also sometimes it just is that different way, that it manifests in different ways with different personalities as well, as far as just how they're doing it, right? But the and I share that because sometimes people will think, the beautiful ways that, like, when it's the confidence, right? I have this confidence, etc. But I would also offer there's what I call the quiet confidence, is that when someone continues to go to church, continues to pray, continues to do the things that they should be doing, even in the midst of these multiple losses, that is a faith also. It's just sometimes that faith can be a quieter type of faith, versus sometimes faith is one where it's more vocalized in different ways. So it's are we doing it in the words, actions, how we're doing it in all those ways, right? So I think that's just important to see is in these transitions, because we're talking about faith now and kind of different expressions, manifestations, that I would say it's all faith, just kind of in a different way of showing it.
Sure. Yeah, we're all on different paths. We're all on different levels. We all handle things differently. That could go for anything, right? My wife, for example, when we were training our dogs, she would talk to them in giant convoluted sentences, right? Because some of it was her anxiety with what she wanted to try to train our dog to do, right? And I knew, not as a man, but as a guy who'd read up a lot on training dogs, that, they get a broad vocabulary, especially on the type of the dog, but it's but one word command or maybe 2 word commands are much easier for them to assimilate, right? She just had different ways of processing it, but the end goal was the same. Yes, I agree.
Get down.
I agree 100%. That happened with our first child, because I'd be like, no, stop, sit. And my wife's like, you're talking to him like a dog. I go, because he's 2.
That's all their brain can handle,
He's 2. You can't sit there and go, honey, don't put your fingers in the socket because, see, the voltage with the AC wattage, well, you're not grounded. And so electricity will flow through your body.
So that's why people like short homilies. Now it makes more sense.
Depends on the homily. Depends on the homily.
Yeah.
Very good. So, how about you, Kelly, with different ones kind of that you've seen with walking with people as a spiritual director?
Yeah, I think, I think a lot of it depends on personality or temperament, because I see faith even the fact that they're coming to talk to me about it shows that their faith is important to them. So in spiritual direction, they wouldn't be there if they weren't trying to live their life for Jesus in some way. But yeah, I think people often think they're doing things wrong because it's not like so-and-so when they went through a transition, or it's not like, and I've done that too. Comparison is not good, y'all.
No.
So,
No.
but we all do it. We all do it.
Yeah.
And, some of us are really good at it and some of us are, have learned over the years. But, I found too that just being faithful to your normal things, like normal rhythm of prayer when possible in the midst of a transition. So even simple things, like this is a funny story, but like even for myself, when I arrived where I am now, I was in Austin and now I'm not in the Diocese of Austin anymore, but I go to daily mass. I go to daily mass and that's a non-negotiable for me in my life as a consecrated woman. I go to daily mass. But so I got here and I had figured out, there's fewer churches here, it's very fewer, and there's fewer mass times. And so I got here and then I went to a mass before I was supposed to go to work, and then the timing of the mass, this was a daily mass, it wasn't a Sunday mass, I had to leave before mass was over because of the way, because I couldn't be late to my first day of work. I had to sign paperwork. Yeah. You don't want to show up. So in the car from the church to the office, I was like talking to Jesus, and I was like, Jesus, you brought me here, and I want to go to church. And I'm telling him, I'm like,
it's your fault, buddy. I've had that conversation.
Yes.
With my wife.
Like, you need to make it so that I know you want me to go to mass. I'm in the United States of America. We're not being persecuted. I should be able to go to daily mass. And I'm telling him the whole ride to the office. And I mean, I work for the Catholic Church, but there's not daily mass where I work. So, but even that,
That's not a get out of jail free card. That's not a get out of jail free card when you're walking to work. I was at mass.
Well, now it is. I talked to my boss, but I didn't know my boss then.
On first day, yeah.
Yeah, now we have an agreement. And I'm really grateful. I'm super grateful. I'm super duper grateful because there's no early mass times here ever. There's no early mass times. So, and there's no evening mass times. So it is what it is. But
That's interesting for that area.
Yeah, you would think.
You would think with the population that it is.
Yeah, you can pray for that. So, but anyway, but I was really angry and I was like, Jesus, you brought me here. I moved here. I left my job that I had before that was very nice, where I had friends and I had people, and I'm telling him all this stuff. I'm like, you have to make it work, Jesus. And and I was exasperated, but at the same time in that transition, it was also like I was frustrated and angry, but also I know he brought me here, and it's like, okay, it's gonna work out somehow. But I told him, I'm like, you better make it work out. But even sharing that with people, I tell him,
threatening the Lord, we love it. It's a good thing. Go on, Kelly.
Like,
I hope to someday have a relationship with him like that, where I can
listen,
I'm
buddy.
Like, I'm sorry, but I really don't think that.
no, I mean, like,
But whatever you want.
I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna be like, Kelly talks to you like this, so I know you can handle it.
You
So
have to
listen,
do it
buddy.
Well, he can handle it. He's God. But it's out of love and out of a desire. And I cried in my car too. I was like crying and angry. And
I can't pull that off.
But and even in sharing that with people, I don't share all of the nuances of that with people that I like direct or anything, but similar stories, But it's kind of like giving other people the permission to also be frustrated in their transition, but also to trust in the Lord, because He did make a way, and He makes a way, and sometimes my schedule has to be a little creative. But if anybody at the office gives me grief when I tell them I went to mass, they were like, "Oh, okay, pray for me," and so I do, and then I pray for more priests to be here.
You should buy. You should buy a little flip notebook, whether you use it or not. Just go, hold on, write that down. That's more official.
More official, yeah. So, no, I've told the vocation director here I'm praying for a ton of seminarians, ton of priests, so that I can have mass in the morning. But,
Nice.
But no, I think in any transition too, I knew what my priorities were, and even to see like what are your priorities and how can you live them in your new situation. So granted, like my schedule is not what I would want it to be. I would want to go to mass first thing in the morning. Some days I can't do that because there's only mass at noon and I have to leave and go to mass during my lunchtime.
Do you try to do this in spiritual direction? So when you have this common knowledge where people are telling you, I'm having this stress,
Yeah.
do you sometimes relate some of your own stories to help them?
Sometimes.
Transition?
But not, yeah, sometimes, or sometimes I'll talk about like a friend who has this just to keep, but the friend is me.
Yes.
Yeah.
We
I am
figured
the
that.
friend.
Yeah.
I am the friend. So I know my friend very well,
Yeah.
but my friend is me.
Yeah.
It depends on the relationship, but but in transitions, especially with like in the spiritual life, and to see what can work for our new situation. Don't just like, because the temptation could be, okay, I can't do this in my new place, like I have to change everything. Well, maybe you don't. And what is the Lord asking of you, and how are you going to stay connected to Him? It might look different. Like my holy hours are at different times of the day almost every day now, and I have to drive, to go make my holy hour most days. And that's hard. When I left the convent, that was the hardest thing, to not live in a place where I have a chapel. And, but the Lord provided, and I had to, over time, and it took a while, to let go of what I thought my life was supposed to look like and how my schedule was supposed to be, and see how the Lord provided for me in this new place. So
Yeah.
with any spiritual life, it's that. It's like, don't just throw it all out. But I don't know
Young
if that
parents.
was the question, but yeah.
Yeah, parents of young kids go through that a lot, where
Oh,
they're
yeah.
like, you want to be doing this or you should be doing that. And to really find that I love that, especially in the Catholic faith, that we have these really small prayers. Come, Holy Spirit. Done. Boom. Right? Mary, pray for me. Done. Like, I love that you can incorporate it in these tiny moments. And like, sometimes Lord help me is my prayer when I'm in the midst of like the overwhelmed stimulation of tiny people. And I just love that those moments are big prayers. Small prayers can be really big prayers because you're calling Jesus and you're calling in your faith in the day-to-day, and you're giving up the day-to-day sacrifice, because love is sacrifice, and giving that up. And during transitions, especially, like whether it's your child going to school or graduating or a new place, new routines, finding a way to keep that routine of the small prayer is just so helpful.
Do you find I'm sorry, Georgia. I was just going to say, do you find yourself doing that with your clients? So with skincare, do you find it, some people are having a hard time, another word might be making a change, right? You're making certain recommendations. Hey, if you do this or you exfoliate, that's about half my skincare knowledge. I just gave it away. Do you find that you're having to coach them through that or help them with that?
I think maybe if it was like that kind of thing, yes. But what I actually wind up doing when I think about transitions with my clients, there are a couple realms. There's typically people come in excited about something. They're getting ready to get married. They're getting ready to have a baby. They just had a baby. Their child is getting married and their husband is being a terrible person, right? Because of all the stress of the wedding or whatever is going on in their life. So there's a lot of different transitions of life that we hold space for. Today I had a client, she's like, my husband's best friend died yesterday. And we had to clean out her apartment this morning, right? So like I get to hold people through that and like give them a space where I'm giving my energy and giving my prayers during their service to help them with that time. But then there's also the clients that come in and they want to have a change. Like they're seeking the change. They want that transition in their skin, in their appearance. And so we work with probably kind of similar, Danny, with you, but also with spiritual direction with Father Charlie and Kelly. I tell them that, like, we've got two budgets, right? You've got your financial budget, and then you've got your budget of time. So, like, I can work within anything if you can be honest about where you are. So, if you're in a transition and you can be honest with yourself about where you are and what you can actually give, like, can you actually wash your face every night? Because that should be a non-negotiable. Your nightly skincare is non-negotiable. So are your nightly prayers, right?
Yes.
And then if you're in training,
I'm taking
like your
notes, hang on.
protein is a non-negotiable, right? Like you've got to hit the protein. I don't care how many calories, you got to hit the
Yeah.
protein. And then like, I don't know what the equivalent would be financially. I'm sure you guys can kind of some metaphor analogy or whatever, but people have to be honest about where they're at, and then you
Yes.
can help them, and then they have to decide that it matters to them
Yes.
to make that change or to support themselves. And sometimes it means coming in and letting me pet on their face and make them feel good. So, yeah.
I would like to
for a
schedule
living.
a pet facing or face petting session.
I love that. Esthetician. That page.
Face-
Face better.
well,
Well,
yes.
we used to say terrible things in this pod. We're like, slap it on, wipe it off, slap it on, wipe it off. Because in like big spas, it's just a conveyor belt of faces. Whereas when you go to a solo esthetician and you have that private experience that's customized to the person, very much like personal training, right?
Yeah.
Versus group exercise, you get the actual care and customization that you need for you.
Yeah.
And it's really truly an experience that's transformative.
Yeah, a lot of people are fighting change, right? A lot of people don't want to change. That's another word for it, right? And I had a client just today that I was talking with them about diet, right? And I'm trying to sort of nail it down, screw it down, tighten it up for them to make it a little bit easier, because I found that sometimes if you have a schedule, right? Like, okay, you're going to eat 5 times a day, or like I get a lot of clients, first-time clients, I'm like, okay, so breakfast is important. Yeah, I don't do breakfast. And I'm like, great, how's that working out for you? Because, you're overweight, you're cranky, and you go to work, and you got this going on, and then you eat too big of a lunch, and you're sleepy. How did you know? Yeah, well, I've done all those things too, right? Mm-hmm. And so, part of my job is to help them change. And I'll tell them, I'll say, what happens if you don't change? Nothing. Right? Mm-hmm. If you want to change your life, if you want to lose weight or gain muscle or feel better about yourself or get healthier, you must do things you're not used to doing. And I understand the only person that likes change is a baby with diapers. Everyone else, no one likes it, right? So change is hard.
Unless you call it a surprise.
Maybe. I'll try
some
that.
people like it.
But I mean, if as I deal with clients, right, I'm always talking to them about, listen, here's the benefits. Like, you can talk to people and lay it out in a intellect format, but that doesn't always work. So I often try to appeal to their emotional, right? So a lot of times, like getting ready for a wedding, like you were saying, right? I get a lot of those, especially in January, because spring. I got a wedding in 3 months, man. I gotta look great. Okay, great. And it's really funny. You want to talk about the feminine and the male, Georgia. I know you love to do that. Mm-hmm. With guys, it's about, I want a big chest. I want big muscles, right? Yeah. With girls, it's like, I have these jeans I haven't worn in 20 years, but I still have them, and I want to wear those. And girls just love fitting in clothes better, which is, it was a new language I had to learn. Because I'm still not great with sizes, but, they'll say, hey, I want to go from size this to size that. Girls are 100% like, you'll never hear men say that. You don't hear men going, oh, I'm wearing jeans I haven't worn since high school.
I've kept the same pair of jeans since I was 22.
Zing.
They are my measurement jeans.
Yeah.
I can still fit into them.
Yeah. I can
still fit into my junior prom dress. I have my junior prom dress as well. And I can still fit into everything, but it does fit differently. It still fits. No, it's not like, oh, you got a muffin top now. No, it's not like that. It's just like no, it's like the muscle changes, or after I had my child, the
Oh, buddy.
bones move
Ja-
and like those things change. But
Kelly-
I think it's important to keep those because it keeps you true. You'll always stay within 8
Don't-
pounds.
don't
if
feel-
you keep that pair of jeans from when you're 20, girls.
Well,
Keep
listen,
those jeans.
Kelly, don't feel bad. I can't fit
Don't
in.
wear them in public. They're not cool.
I can't fit into my high school clothes, but that's because I've got them so much bigger and
Yeah,
stronger.
so much bigger.
But
That's the male side, right? Like,
but yeah, so
you're-
guys,
have to cut his sleeves off. Cause
That's
he
right.
couldn't sleep.
guys look at it a lot different, but you learn to communicate with folks like that. But even on other things, so I get a lot of clients that get upset about certain things, right? And there was election a while back, and it doesn't matter who, but they were upset because the election didn't go the way they wanted, and they're really mad about it. They kept getting mad about it, and I just finally looked at them and I said, I think your problem is faith, and they're like, what? I go, yeah, your faith's not very good. And they go, what do you mean by that? And I go, well, let me ask you a question. God's still on the throne, right? They're like, yeah. I'm like, okay, so,
Did they say it with that accent?
yeah, they're all mad, and I'm like, okay, so there's a reason why certain things are happening, right? And we're supposed to keep our eyes on heaven, not on what's going on earth. Doesn't mean I don't get upset about things, but I don't hold on to it like you're doing it. And they go, well, I don't see how it's a faith problem. I go, well, let me ask you a question. I go, are you worried about the sun coming up tomorrow? And they go, what? I go, are you worried about the sun coming up tomorrow? And they go, well, no. I go, why? Because it always comes up, right? Your whole life it's come up every day. Is this not true? They go, yeah. I go, well, one day scientists say it's going to explode. We won't know for 7 minutes because that's how long it takes the speed of light to get to us. But one day it's going to go kaboom. But you're not worried about that. Your faith in the sun coming up tomorrow is basically absolute. You're so upset about this thing because you're personalizing it instead of giving it up to God. Try to do that, and this will help give you peace. And it really worked for them. It worked fantastic by just getting them to look at it a little different. It didn't change the outcome.
You
but
know,
it really
Danny,
worked.
I kind of gave you a little grief earlier about like you being like a happy puppy dog about like I just move through things, right? But like what you just said really hit home so hard about how when you focus on your faith and you just keep giving it over to God, like all these things, no matter what kind of transition we're going through, especially those things we cannot control, it puts everything into perspective. It really works. You really hit the nail on the head there.
Well, I appreciate saying that.
I gave him a compliment.
I know. We are recording, right, Father?
Yeah.
And we
So-
witnessed
I'm
it.
writing down the dates, and okay.
I was
Well,
just thinking about how often when someone's getting ready for a priesthood ordination or a religious life profession, of how they tell me, Father, I've got only so much months to my ordination or my profession. I'm not holy enough. How do I get holier in time? Doesn't it happen all the
Yeah.
time to you, Kelly, that people would
All the
say
time.
things like that?
Yeah,
You're
just-
thinking, like...
I think that
Wow.
I think that when you really put
Do they really do that, or are you guys just pulling our leg?
Oh, I'm being very facetious right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very.
It's more of I was
Dude.
pondering as you were saying that. I was like, I wonder why they don't do that more. I was like,
Is there like, do you think there's like an ego thing, or like just such a certainty of being called, or do you think that like there's
I
no
don't know.
fear?
Oh, I don't know. Before profession of vows, it's just like exciting because it took you all the years to get there.
Yeah.
So it's
you're
like a graduation.
Yay!
Okay. Okay.
Well, I mean, kind of like a graduation, but I don't know. It's still
it's a
different,
celebration. I
'cause
mean,
it's like,
but it is a
celebration,
transition, right? It's like you're going
Yeah.
from one state to another. So
Yeah, and then you
know.
dress differently and everything.
Yeah.
So
Oh
it's-
my gosh, I just got these pictures from when I was a teenager, and my
When you fit into your prom dress.
yes,
still fits into a
but
prom dress. You
I do
told us
have
that.
those. I do have
love-
those.
I want to
My
see how
mother's
this fits
wedding
into the
dress
topic.
Also, so that makes it very special. It was my
Oh.
mother's wedding dress that I
Aw.
redesigned. Anyway,
That's cool.
no, I had another really cute outfit, and I was at my
Oh,
cousin's celebration of becoming deacon, and then the next year it was like him being ordained as a priest, and it was like, oh, I totally forgot I went to these. So it's very fun. So, but it did look very happy and joyful. I don't remember it, even though I was like 17.
But you remember them close.
Not until I saw the clothes, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that outfit was so cute." I look like oh gosh, what's her name? Shirley from Garbage.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
the band Garbage.
Yeah.
I had that little
Wow.
outfit on.
I haven't
It's
thought
really
of that
cute.
band in a long time. Yeah.
I know.
Just to know, viewers,
Bri-
I don't know that
Bri-
band either, and I'm
Bri-
the same age they are.
Bring
So
it,
don't feel bad.
When it rains.
rein it in, Father. Bring us back.
So,
For all you '90s kids.
I have a quote that
what
I
is your
remembered.
quote, Kelly?
Hang on. There you go.
So-
Go, Kelly. Go. Wait.
What?
There you go.
What are you
Go
doing?
on.
Oh, okay, good. I don't know if this will show up in the recording. Danny gives hearts to things that he likes. So I think it's John Henry Newman said, to live is to change, and to be perfect is to change often.
Ooh.
I like
And,
it.
yeah.
I'm on my road to excellence then.
I remember. Oh gosh, me too. Then, yeah. So I remember reading that. One of the times I got transferred, a sister wrote it in a card to me when I was moving from one house to another, and because I really didn't want to move that time. It was like I was really excited about what I was doing, and whatever. And then she just said, "Oh, it's and this was a much older sister, so she'd been through it. But yeah, to live is to change, and to be perfect is to change often. Not that you have to look for the change, but that it just things happen, and what we do with the change as
Yeah.
time goes on can help us or not. So yeah,
And well
That's
done.
beautiful.
You quoted that exactly, by the way, Kelly. So,
I did.
yes, props to
Did you Google it? Yay, I win. Usually I get quotes kind of off, but
It's not a competition,
That was so
but
good.
she won.
I won. I win. I win.
And I think Jesus helped you out because he was upstairs going,
He's
hang
got my
on,
back."
hang on. She was just threatening me on a podcast. I gotta give her some super knowledge.
It's not. I don't threaten him. I'm just real with him. I'm like,
Listen,
hey, you're my
buddy."
spouse. You're my spouse, and you got to do the thing.
So,
Okay.
some takeaways
Takeaways.
is that, yes, I think it's great. In transition, it's okay to be patient with yourself. It's okay to talk to God and be real with God. Hopefully, you've been hearing that from people who are professional prayers, as we like to say. Yes, you could say it. Own it, Kelly, be professional prayer.
I love that.
Prayer.
Professional prayer.
I've never put that. I can make a business card. Professional prayer.
Exactly.
Okay,
There you
pray for
go.
you.
That.
And also, again, just that way of having faith through that. That our faith can be tested and can be grown through those different transitions, but it can manifest or look differently in different people as far as how that goes. And then also just that way of having that faith of saying if we don't want to be stuck in that place with the transition, saying are we ready to make a change? Are we ready to take that next step or do those next things that will help us to move forward from that place where we might find ourselves with that transition? Which, by the way, we didn't use this language explicitly, but I would say part of that to get out of that place is you have to let go of something, right? So that's the hard part, right? You have to let go when you're going from one place to another. And we as human beings, at least I know I do this, we like to hold on to stuff. And it's hard to let go, right? And it's painful oftentimes to let go. But once we let go, and if instead of holding on to that thing, we start to hold on to God in that place of our
Yes.
life or in our heart, that's where there can be, some beautiful transformations that happen. Let me offer a prayer for everyone. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Almighty Father, we offer to you all those changes anyone might be experiencing at this time, especially if there is any despair, any hopelessness of in the midst of these particular transitions believing something might not change. We rejoice with any of those that are going through transitions that are having very positive effects, that people have chosen to make a change, to make a move, that they feel that you have called them to, God, and there's that place of joy, that place of celebration that they're at. We especially pray for any ways that someone's physical, emotional, or spiritual health could have been impacted by any of these transitions. Help them, Lord, if they are holding on to anything, to let go of that thing to you that they're holding on to. And may Almighty God bless, protect, and seal you with the blood of the Lamb, in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
Amen.